moving on to our last panel discussion of the day. Get ready for a captivating fireside chat that will explore how technology is fundamentally reshaping food safety. I would like to introduce Mr. Ramesh Agarwal, co-convener, India Food Safety Conclave and CEO of Food Safety Works. He is a thought leader, a technology and design enthusiast. He identifies, contributes, and resonates with various social causes in his personal and professional life. Joining him, I would like to introduce Ms. Vinita Bali, Board of Director on International and Indian Companies, and former CEO, MD of Britannia. A seasoned business leader with over 40 years of global experience across companies like Coca-Cola, Cadbury, and Britannia. She currently serves on several international and Indian boards, bringing deep expertise in strategy, marketing, and governance. Next, we have Mr. Ankur Baumik, Director, Operations at Okla, India. Supply chain leader with 30 years of experience, including 17 in leadership driving end-to-end operations and digital transformation across FMCG and retail. Known for building efficient, tech-enabled and sustainable supply chains that deliver strong business results. I'd like to invite all the speakers to this stage. Please give them a round of applause. Sir, the stage is yours.
Hi. Good evening, everyone. So I know there was a coffee break planned, but we are running a little late, and ma'am had a hard stop to leave at 5 o'clock, so we thought we'll make the best of whatever time we have. Ankur is going to come and join us, I think, 2 minutes. Anybody does not know ma'am? No, I don't need to introduce, right? So we've had this huge complaint about this conclave. This is the third year we are doing it, and the complaint has been you guys are very, very technical. There is too much overload of technology in this conclave, so we thought we'd change it a little bit, make it a little more informal, talk about other things apart from just technology, right? So that's the idea of calling it a fireside chat. It's a very casual conversation. I have not prepared any notes. I just have some bullet points to kind of talk about. So this is to lighten up probably, and when I talked to ma'am and Ankur, the question was, what do you want, right? So this is a technical conference. Why are you talking about all these other things? And the idea was that there is a lot of management, middle management, top management here, and one of the things I've been passionate about is about building global brands, right? So how do we make global Indian brands, not just global brands? So I want to start with the question to ma'am saying, you of course started career with a lot of multinationals and then Britannia, and now you're on foundations, boards, other global companies. So what will it take for us to build more global Indian brands, right? So we consume Kellogg's, but why isn't the world consuming more of what we do? We have a fantastic food supply chain, or food tradition, I would say, but we still struggle, right? We are still getting food from the West, brands from the West. So how do we make ourselves more global?
Well, I think there are two or three issues or challenges when we talk about global brands. You know, the first is, are we talking about food that is accepted around the world? Because if I were to separate out a brand from, let's say, Indian food, then I think Indian food has far greater acceptance around the world than a food brand from India does. I think that's the first thing. The second thing, when you think about it, is food is a very individual preference. There are actually very few global food brands. There are beverage brands. You know, I was fortunate enough to work on brands like Cadbury's, brands like Coca-Cola, etc. But those are not center of plate products. Those are, refreshments. They are not the necessities of food. So I think we have to be really clear that what is it that we are promising when we say a global brand. And it takes a lot of finances to create and establish global brands. I mean, you gave the example of Kellogg's. Kellogg's came to India initially and struggled a lot. If you look at the large food companies in India, take a company like Nestle, etc. After all these years of operating in India, they are a 12,000, 13,000 crore company. So even brands that have come to India are not so significant. I think the third thing we have to remember about India is that a lot of the food that is sold in India is still sold unbranded and unpackaged. So I think we have to distinguish between what we are calling a brand, which is it a packaged food product with a name, or are we talking about Indian cuisine? If I look at Indian cuisine, we've done actually pretty well in terms of the acceptance of Indian cuisine in many parts of the world. But I think food is a very personalized habit. Think of, Kellogg's, which was really all about a breakfast need, is not as successful as, say, a Coca-Cola or chocolate, etc., because those things are not clearly defined and consumers don't have sharp preferences for that. So I think there's a lot of nuance and there's a lot of understanding that you require before you can say, I've established a global food brand. There are very few global food brands, actually.
Thank you, ma'am. I think I need to do a little more research on what I asked. Ankur, coming to you, right? So traditional Indian brand, MTR, very South Indian, and then now Okla, global. So how does that fit in? As in struggles with multinational, trying to take over the brand and trying to grow it, not grow it. So what's the struggle?
Yeah, first of all, I must say it's an honor, ma'am, to be here because long time, in different companies, not before MTR, when I worked in many companies, we knew you so well. And it's an honor to be here sharing this dais, first of all. And yes, what ma'am said is absolutely correct. If you really look at our company, and first I'll tell you that initially we were MTR. Then 2021 we had one more acquisition, that is Eastern. And that's when we changed our name from MTR to Okla India. So we've got two brands, where our owner is based out of Norway. So many times there was a discussion that why we do not get those Norwegian brands to India, where they were very clear, the food is so personal, food is rather local. It's not about, in India also, that what we understand is the food is not about the choices would change from every 200 kilometers. And there is something in the basic food, and there's something is a value-added food. And the value-added food, the most important thing is about taste. The likability of the taste is so important. So it was very clear that they would come to India, but we will try to nurture our Indian brand in India. And rather, what we have decided, we decided that it's not about a sambar, what is made sambar in Karnataka, the same sambar is not used in Tamil Nadu. People would say that the Karnataka sambar is not so great, the Tamil people would talk about that. Even the sambar is different, even the rasam is different. So we decided even in India to work only in South India. The market is so big, we really need to look at the India today, which is today 4 trillion economy, and more than 22% coming out of South India. South India, each state can become big. For me, before becoming global, and I tell you that as far as we are concerned, 20% of our turnover, actually we get from sales, we get from export. So we sell to 43 countries. And when we sell to 43 countries, people would say that we are multinational, but no. Today, most of our sale is actually to, to our Indian diaspora. They've done well because it is about a product and the market fitment. The taste is so different that you need to tweak it. So when even if the Pizza Hut that came to India, your format was probably global uniform, but the flavoring was always different because that has to be so local. So I see there is a lot of opportunity for us to become a big Indian brand before we think about global. The food is so local. That's where we would like to really scale up.
So, fair assessment. While we'd love more brands to go global, but like you said, I think India itself is a big market, and that's something that I think all the export houses also complain that. So things like mango or even agri-commodities, we have such a big consumption base. Although we are the largest producer of mangoes, but because of our domestic market, we are not exporting enough, right? We don't really care. We continue to pump in pesticides because our people don't care, and we continue to serve that. Now, coming on to the scalability part of it, to say that, okay, global brand, Indian brand, there are a lot of challenges in scaling, and I want to particularly focus on the quality aspect of it, where we see that it seems very difficult for the quality professionals to get attention in India. I'm not demeaning the profession, but I see that they really struggle. We consult with a lot of companies, and then they say that management focus does not come on quality, and to me quality and scalability kind of go hand in hand. So from your experience, what do you, as quality professionals are here, what is your input to them, saying how do they get the right attention from the management to implement the processes and systems that they really want to implement?
So respectfully, I disagree that quality doesn't get the attention it deserves. I think it varies from company to company. I can tell you in Britannia, for example, that I was there for 10 years. The head of quality reported directly to me, to the CEO and the managing director. Quality did not report to manufacturing. Quality did not report to anybody else. We considered quality to be so significant and important. There were quality managers in each of the manufacturing units, and a quality manager could actually stop the line if the product that was coming out of that particular shift, etc., did not meet the standards. So I do think that the emphasis varies from company to company, and it's not just in food companies. I can tell you there are very well-known brands of vehicles in India who were actually giving a seat belt for the driver on what they were exporting, but that same seat belt was not available to Indian drivers because they were cutting down on cost. Now, I think that's a mindset, and that mindset has to change, and that change has to come from the very top. So I can name you lots of examples of companies where quality is supreme, where the quality people have the final call on what is to be done. And there are other companies, one of the examples that I just shared with you. So I think it's the company ethos, it's the company culture, it is the mindset. And what all of you as professionals should be driving is that on quality, there is no compromise. Whether it's a food product or a car or anything that has safety features built into it.
And thank you, man, for the reassurance. I'm sure everybody will be happy here listening to that. In terms of, Ankur, in terms of growth and scalability, how do you see that sort of change the whole system and process to manage that? So, and any technology or anything else that you want to talk about?
See, when we talk about scalability, and most of the time we have seen that you cannot have lot many products and don't make your system very complex. For the scalable, the most important is that you need to simplify your processes. The first is about what we have seen, that there has to be good structure, good processes, systems, technology, digital. And the last thing is about, and not the least, is about people. And I'll also add quality to that, which is so important for growth. So many times I've seen that the scalability becomes a challenge when we make our systems very complex. And if we have too many products, small products, scalability becomes difficult. We have to have a few big products in any company, and then you just need to replicate this process. So if any product you want to grow, and this product you can manufacture only in one factory, and the next factory you don't have that kind of volume, scalability does not happen. But when you want to take this production to other factories, you need to see that you have a standardization. when there is standardization, you'll always see the scalability happens. Growth comes out of many things. Growth comes out of your intention, how much, what are the finances you have. This is how much you can really spend, which are the newer markets you can go. But I'm really talking about more the if there is a demand, and how do we really grow and how do we really scale ourselves. And quality and food safety, when I talk about food brand, becomes very important. And we take quality and food safety differently. So we talk about the quality is something which is the repeatability of the product. So like I'm delivering a consistent product, and if my test differs batch to batch, that's where my quality is not there. That is one part I really need to take care of, to see that any product we sell, there has to be quality consistency, and that's when you see the consumers will stick to you. Brand loyalty comes in only when we see that as a brand owner, we fulfill the promise of what we deliver consistently. What is happening today in India, and I said no, the answer is yes and no. And as far as our company is concerned, what is very clear, that we believe the growth and scalability can come only when we deliver something where there's a high degree of emphasis on food safety. And when we talk about food safety, we talk about that the product should be free from basic thing what we talk about, free from any harmful chemicals, bacteria or foreign materials. Now, I do understand that the quality team, as you said, that sometimes they feel that they do not have adequate, what I would say, that authority, maybe the right word. But anyone sitting out here, I would say that everyone has got authority, but you need to do a risk management. Sometimes what happens, I've seen that if you do a risk management of high, medium and low, and start focusing on high, and that's where you need to bring more quality assurance. Many places we have seen that it's more about a quality control. But how can you change this quality control? Part is about more self-owned. That is, in fact, in the company when I started, I mean, I'm talking about Oakland, India, we had a quality control division, the line checking and all, and we did not have any quality assurance. So what we spoke about very clearly, that a simple thing, when mother is making food, that person is taking care of food safety. There is somebody who is not checking it. The chef making food in a restaurant, nobody is coming and checking it because they are making food for consumer. Production team making some food products, they need to think about consumer. And when they think about consumer, that's where the culture happens. And we said, why do you need quality control and not quality assurance? And the quality team will start looking at that risk mitigation and see what are the challenges we have and facilitate the process and understand much before the problem happens, is see that the quality by design part of it. And doing this risk mitigation of high, medium, low, if you take care of the high ones, chances are that you've got a better authority. Many times what happens that you go and try to attack the low items also. And that is where I've seen that the people will start.
So I think that's a very important lesson. Not everything is equal. We are not all born equal. So if you waste your energy on the low ones, then you're probably not going to get time to look at the high ones. So I think clearly that's the thing. Ma'am, on scalability, since you scaled in 10 years to 3x, your experience in 4x, okay, sorry, my bad. Like I said, I need to read a little more. 4x in 10 years. Any tips, nuggets from that?
Yeah, sure. I think, the purpose of business is to, have products that fulfill a unique purpose. Once you've got that, then you've got to have a business model that is capable of taking those products and making them available wherever those consumers are. And there is no point in creating a business model that is actually not scalable, because again, the purpose of business, to put it very simply, is actually to sell more of your products to more people, more often, at more places, for more money. If I could put it very simply. And the whole idea of scaling really is to say, if I've got a great product that has a need that it is satisfying, and I can make it available and it's got a great value proposition, then, you know, putting together a business model that takes it across to as many places as possible is really the only way you can ensure business success. And that could be geographic expansion within the country. Again, talking of Britannia, for the first time, we took our products outside of India. We made 2 acquisitions in the Middle East. We used Middle East as the sourcing hub for actually exporting products to Australia and Canada. And as you said, largely it is the Indian diaspora. But actually, you know, when you look at, and the reason why we stick with Indian diaspora, Indian brands, we have to understand is that the cost of listing your products in a supermarket in the US or in Europe is exorbitant. And so, you know, if you want to go and find your products available in Sainsbury, well, Sainsbury is demanding a lot of money for your products to be listed. So what we end up doing is a lot of our brands, these are packaged food. And I keep distinguishing between packaged food and food because I think there's a very big difference. The acceptance of Indian restaurants, Indian cafes, Indian fast food around the world is actually pretty significant. It's only when you come to brands. And even there, if you think about, you know, you talked about global food brands. There are very few global food brands. You know, there's a Coke and there's a McDonald's and there's, you know, a Cadbury and there's Mars and, you know, then you run out of names pretty quickly. Take a very successful company like Danone that came into India and wanted to be in the fresh dairy business, just could not make a success of it and, you know, retreated. So the competitive context has to be understood. The value proposition of your brand has to be, you know, very compelling. And then you've got to do things right in terms of pricing, availability, packaging strategy, servicing the dealers and the customers. And all those things have to come together before you can scale. But, you know, without scale, business has nowhere to go.
True that, ma'am. I think it's a chicken and egg problem. You need more, you need to scale more to get the resources and you need to put the resources to scale more. So I think it's the quality professionals here will say PDCA cycle. You just keep going in loops around it. Coming to you, Ankur, I think the question around skills and gaps, I think that's a very oftenly talked question in the industry, not just food, I think around. We look at unskilled, are we doing enough to skill our people? Are we empowering them enough? So what's your assessment of the skill and the situation and how do we do better on it?
Yeah, I think this is the right thing, you know, like today if you talk about skill, there's a gap. I mean, no one would deny that there is no gap. I think there are many sectors. In fact, I'll tell you the last month only, I attended one session with Minister of, you know, Skilling, and all sectors were there. And I got some understanding that probably there are some sectors like steel, you know, they are doing much better than us. But when it comes to foods, we still see that there are gaps. But we have got very generic programs going on, whereby, you know, you have the skill. There are 2-3 level skill. You know, the one level skill you talk about. Do you have enough engineers there? Do you have enough food technologists there? And the other skill is about the shop floor level. Do you have enough operators, technicians? They can run products. And do you see a skill gap? This is the place where we skill gap. We don't see any skill gap in the supervisory or managerial level. Our skill gap is more about operational shop floor level. Now, to take care of that, I'll tell you that the challenge what is happening that the courses, normally the vocational courses, ITA courses which are run, is not looking at employability part of it. And there's a very good discussion happened which I can share. The discussion was that if ITI college is there, or school or whatever you say, institute is there in Guntur, why can't you teach that person about chili drying, about grinding, milling, or other packing of chili, rather than try to teach him something which may not be useful, he may not find a job there. And that's something which you have taken back, and which I think that only one, the government cannot do entirely. It has to be a part of PMKVY. There is a discussion which is going on that, the government and the companies, we should work together and help all people in ITI to come to our factories and get trained there. And that we should provide. I think this is just a start. But this is the way forward, I will always believe, that we should, the whole problem is happening today probably. We have to, only one government or only one or two companies can't go forward and do it. There has to be push from the state government, from the central government, and all the food companies should come together and support this whole thing about skilling. It may take some time, but directionally I see at least there could be a success formula which I believe that now being worked out, whereby ITI skilling only skilling which is necessary, and so that the person can get a job near vicinity, and having course like that. We have also given our input what kind of courses to be there if the ITI there in Bangalore or in Guntur or in Kerala, and then how can we provide training to them, and then future we see that how can we absorb them.
So I think that's a fantastic initiative. Localization, as we see, is the key. There have been some programs like the PMFME where they've identified one district, one product kind of a scheme where they're focusing on one. So maybe this is going to augment that and say, okay, this district is focusing on tomato processing, and then we will create skill around that in that district. So it's great to know that industry is coming forward and helping. So I think it's really a mutually beneficial sort of relationship. I think all of us have to work together. This is probably going to be my final question. And then, because I want to leave at least a couple of questions to the audience, not take away all your time. So in terms of social responsibility, I see that food is such a tricky business, right? There is government intervention, there is regulation, there is price control, all kind of things. So in terms of a social responsibility of food, then there is nutrition, right? So that's another thing that we talk about. So junk food, blah. So as a social responsibility of a business, how do you kind of approach this? So open-ended question, whatever your thoughts. And you've worked with the Gain Foundation, and then so you probably have insights from there. So what would you like to share?
You obviously approach it in a responsible manner. And the question really is that you've got to be authentic about, what it is that you are selling. And there's a lot of this thing about this is junk food, that is not junk food, so much of. And I think the regulator also has to do what the regulator has to do in terms of, making it known to consumers that be aware of what you're buying. If there is excess fat or excess sugar or excess sodium, I think it's good to know that. Now, having said that, I think there is another responsibility. If we feel that food is so bad, then why are permissions given to put up those factories? I used to keep having this argument when I was in Britannia, where I said, nobody can deny the fact that an apple or a banana is more healthy and nutritious than a biscuit. But a biscuit is far more nutritious than bhajiyas and pakoras and vada pav and so many other things that, go completely unregulated. I think the second thing to remember is that nobody is thrusting anything down your throat. We as consumers have to make informed choices about, what we spend our money on, what we consume, how much of it we consume, what do we, allow our children to do, and so on. So I think the responsibility is shared by, by the idea of the product itself, by the permissions that are given. I mean, we're talking about a situation where, people are allowed to sell cigarettes. Now, should we have any judgment on that? To me, the judgment really is, I as a consumer can decide whether I want to smoke or I don't want to smoke, whether I want to buy a Coke with, no sugar, or I want to buy the full sugar Coke, and so on and so forth. So I think it's a complex question to answer. I think it's at the heart of what is a business, but I also believe that business has a responsibility, and that is that if there is a social issue that can be tackled in the business model itself, that then becomes a very important responsibility of business. And I think the bakery industry demonstrated that when, we put together insights like there's almost a 95% consumption of biscuit in households in India. Biscuits are an excellent carrier of micronutrients. There is a huge deficiency of micronutrients from iron to zinc to, so many others. And if biscuits can be fortified with some of those things, then the business becomes more responsible than it otherwise would have been. And I think those are the things companies should start looking at more and more. The soft drink companies looked at how much water they were consuming and decided that rainwater harvesting is something that they would do. So I think businesses also have to be challenged. Businesses themselves have to be responsible, and at the end of the day, we've got to create a virtuous cycle and not get into this blame game.
Thank you, ma'am. I think that was a great comparison, saying a biscuit is better than a bhaji. Not to deter you from eating bhajis, it's all right. I think moderation is the key, like they say.
Exactly.
And the final question for you, since we're talking responsibility, we've not covered sustainability in today's world. I think we should cover that. So what do we do to be more sustainable?
Yeah, I think every company today has taken a pledge. Though the pledge could be to become zero emission by 2045 or 2070. But everyone knows at some point in time we need to start working on. We have taken a very practical approach. And we said, what we can solve, we will go for that first. So we said what we can solve first about, there are two things. We have a lot of factories, and therefore there is a lot of, the electricity usage. The second is about we transport material, inbound, outbound. We get a lot of our materials from all across India, and then we distribute all across India, and therefore, a lot of transport, and that's where the carbon emission happens. The third is about usage of water, and fourth is about packaging. So these four we have taken. Other than, of course, we also started looking at salt, sugar, soda, other part. So what we do today, I can tell you, all our factories, 60% of our energy is met through renewable energy. We've also gotten to a group captive there, and thereby entire Karnataka, all three factories is actually through 100% renewable energy. So this is the first thing we said, that in next 3 years, our factory should be run only through renewable energy, nothing else. So, and second, then we started working on water. Whatever water we consume, we took 3 steps. First we said, can we reduce usage of water? Then we said, can you recycle? And we increased our recycling, and thereby we again reduced the usage of water. And third, we said replenish. Can we start replenishing water? So what we are taking, can you give more? And then third, after 2 that we are working on, the third thing we talked about, that how can we really start working on electric vehicle? Because that's one thing. In sustainability, there are 3 parts. One is called scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3. Scope 1 and scope 2, which is under directly your control and with the electricity part of it. Scope 3 is where you actually work with your extended partners. There could be your logistics partners, could be your suppliers, agriculture. So there we started working with our distributors and with our logistics partners to start converting some of the vehicles electric vehicle. Long distance still not possible, but the local dispatches, I can tell you, we've already started that moving, pushing our distributors to move to electric vehicle. That may take some more time, but that job is on. The fourth is about sustainable packaging. And we believe that what we can do, as far as we are concerned, And that's also one thing that responses towards society. And we have taken a plan in next 3 to 4 years. We want maybe by 2030. Yes, by 2030 there's a pledge that we need to have that sustainable packaging. And the last part is about agriculture, and that's the difficult piece to crack, which is sustainable agriculture. It's just not about integrated pest managed agriculture, but it's about more of a sustainable agriculture. We just started working on. But I really don't have any answer at this point how long it will take. It's a very, very complex subject to talk about. I can probably take a day to talk about that. What are the problems that we are facing today, rather than to talk about what plan we have, to be very honest.
No, absolutely. I think there are some questions which have very long answers, and unfortunately we have less time. I still want to give an opportunity for a couple of questions in the audience. So anybody have a question, raise your hand. We'll get the mic to you. Anyone?
This is more of a message. I wanted Vinita to please give it to youngsters out here. Some of them are owners. The role of strategic planning. In fact, I have been the beneficiary. I had the greatest fortune of working under one of the greatest leaders. One is good leadership. Transparency is very important. And then as a leader, you have to show by example. She has led it by example, including cleaning that old airport road campus several times. So, like the kind of strategic plan we created, ma'am, with your leadership, after 3-4 years, we were able to reap the benefits of it in winning the best of quality awards in the country, whether it's the Golden Peacock Award, Rajiv Gandhi Quality Award, Ramkrishna Bajaj Quality Award, Asia Pacific Malcolm Baldwin International Quality Award, CI National Food Safety Award. It was all the result of the strategic planning that you directed us in 2006, and we were able to reap the benefits of it in 2009-10. So some advice on that to the large MSME, SME kind of people, how they can differentially strategize themselves.
Well, I think you're giving me too much credit. I think it's the work of the team. It starts with a conviction at the top. I mean, if you're convinced that what you've got to do is deliver excellence, excellence in product, excellent in process, excellent in packaging, excellence in the business model, then it's so much easier to align people towards a goal that really talks about excellence, to a goal that talks about being in the winning circle, to a goal that talks about differentiating yourself. Nobody wants to be part of a mediocre team. Everybody wants to be part of a winning team. So I think the first thing comes really from your own conviction. And then there are enough smart people, I believe, in every organization. With Dr. Shashikant and several other people, we got the best of the best people in the industry. We gave them an environment where they could do their best work, and they did their best work. And when you've got people who are inspired to deliver their best, and they have an environment in which they can flourish, then you don't have to do very much because they take care of everything. So I think there's got to be a conviction, there's got to be capacity and capability that you build, and then there's got to be pride in what you're doing. At the end of the day, let's remember that all of us are here to serve the interest of just one cohort of people, and those are our consumers who are exchanging their hard-earned money for the products we sell. And we've got to do what is right by them. Consumers are also very clever. They will choose products. They have preferences which are very, very clear. So in a competitive world, you've got to earn your right to win.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Any other questions in the audience? The lights are coming on to me, so I can see only half of it.
Audience wants to go and have tea.
I know. So do all of us. But we didn't want to miss the opportunity to have a talk with you. It's been an absolute privilege, ma'am. I know you have a hard stop, so I will not stretch you any further. I'm sure we'll find another forum and get more time from you next time, now that you know us.
Sure. Thank you.
We don't ask very technical questions. So we'll find another time to have a more longer conversation. So thank you. Thank you, everyone, and thank you, Ankur, for all the insights, and with you as well. A lot more time. We've always wanted to make this a 2-day conclave, but people seem to run away from a 1-day conclave, so we are a little hesitant to make it 2 days. So that's the reason we try to squeeze in absolutely too much into this session, I realize, and we keep running late. But it's a mistake. I think I'm not regretting. I think it's time well spent. So thank you very much, Jyotsna.
I'd like to request Mr. Ramesh sir to felicitate our speakers. Thank you, Ms. Vinita Bali ma'am. A round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ankur.
Thank you. Yes, yes, thank you. Yes, it's lovely.
Thank you, Mr. Ankur sir. Thank you so much for the valuable discussion. Let's have a photo. If you can come to the center. We can keep it there, sir. We'll just have a photo. If you can come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.